Gang. It's Professor Jared Rathel here. Before you dive into Unit 1, The Nature of Science, I just wanted to give you a really quick crash course in how best to navigate online Bio 182 using Canvas, because sometimes it's not intuitive. So right off the bat, this is the home page. It's like a welcome page, right? So anytime that you log on, you're going to be routed to this home page. Not highly functional, just a really quick welcome to the course. What you're going to want to do after logging on to Canvas is you're always going to want to hit this modules view right here. So the second link right below home. So start by clicking on the modules view. And then that's going to bring you to the 5 modules. So there are 5 modules with content, and then there's an introduction to general biology 2. And so you can condense them like this so that all of the materials are condensed within the title to expand the materials. For example, to expand your first unit, the nature of science, what you're going to do is click on that arrow right there. Clicking that will expand Unit 1 such that it looks like this. So what I would encourage you to do is, after being routed to the home page, click on the modules view. Open up the module that we're working in and notice that it's all chronologically ordered week by week. So week 1, we're starting here in week 1 with the nature of science. Expand the module that we're working in, find the last lesson that you were working on, click on that lesson, do whatever it is you need to do, read the textbook readings, check out the Rathel lecture, check out any supplemental video materials, and then when you're through with that lesson, click on Next on the bottom right-hand corner, and it will bring you to the next assignment or the next lesson. So for example, if I click on Lesson 1-1, the defining qualities of the scientific process, all of your lessons are going to start with the objective. And so these are those competencies that we're required to cover in Bio 182, which makes your course transferable. A textbook reading associated with the content, and then I've got a hyperlink there to the online textbook for OpenStax. These are my guided notes, and so different folks have different approaches. What I do for my face-to-face classes is I print those guided notes, and I encourage students to fill in the blanks as they listen to the lecture. That way they stay tuned, but they're also not like swamped with trying to write down every tangent that I go on. So the guided notes can be helpful. You can print them and fill them in by hand, or you can have it up on a second screen and just type directly into the Word document. But I would encourage you to have those guided notes completed before you take your weekly assessment. And then we've got 1-1, the nature of science. My lecture, I spent a lot of time preparing these lectures. I hope you find them engaging. The lectures are embedded within Canvas. You can also watch it on my YouTube channel. And then note that there's also a PowerPoint file with all of the slides, as well as closed captioning. So this is what I said in the lecture. So hopefully you'll find these lessons standalone and consistent and helpful for you in digesting this material. When you're finished with lesson 1-1, you're going to go down here to the next button on the bottom right, click next. It will bring you to the next lesson or the next assignment. So I'm going to just really quickly run through the types of assignments that you're going to encounter here in Bio 182, as well as their associated point values. So some things that are worth, a disproportionate large amount of points, you're going to want to spend a little more time on. Those things that are worth 10 points, they're low stakes, so don't stress out too much about them. So we'll start with the low stakes stuff. So you have a number of reading and reflections throughout the course. This was one that comes from your evolution unit. It's a National Geographic article. It's called The Downside of Upright. It's all those trade-offs that our hominid ancestors made when they became bipedal, when they stood upright and stopped knuckle walking. We got bad backs and bad knees and all kinds of other ailments as a result of this. So but it's a short article. There's the prompts are there. It asks for approximately, looks like about 5 sentences plus 2 more, so 10 to 15 sentences, about a page. So the reading and reflections are worth 10 points. They should take you no more than 30 minutes. A second example of a low stakes assignment is our graded discussions. So certain assignments, certain readings I'll have you do on controversial topics, like for example, the use of CRISPR, genetically modifying organisms to better farm fish. And so you'll actually research both sides of these controversial arguments. You'll fill in a New York Times debate table. Reading the materials and completing the debate table is worth 15 points, and then posting to the graded discussion board is worth 10 points. But my hope is these discussion boards, particularly if they're graded, because it'll force you to do it, will allow us to interact a bit in this online course and exchange some ideas. And a final example of a low stakes assignment. These are my walk on the wild side videos. So I have 4 of these, one for each unit. So these are what I think are really intriguing ideas. So for example, when we talk about the origins of life, I have a walk on the wild side video all about exobiology. And so that's biologists that think about what life might look like in extraterrestrial systems. So I have these walk on the wild side videos. They're cool, entertaining topics. Usually they run about 15 minutes. And then there's a short Canvas quiz afterwards. It's a comprehension quiz. It's worth 10 points. And you can take it as many times as you want until you get your 10. So those are low stakes assignments. Medium stakes assignments. These are your interactive case studies, your activities, your Hardy-Weinberg math problems. So these are assignments that are worth 25 points. And so this is an interactive case study that you'll do in Unit 1, The Nature of Science. It's a really well put together unit. It's an experiment where wildlife researchers are testing the ability of elephants to detect low frequency sound over long distances. So it's exploring elephant communication. So interactive case studies, assignments, 25-point assignments, they should take you about an hour. Another example of a 25-point activity. So in this simulation, it's kind of like a video game. You get to be a predatory bird and you get to pick off moths and look at how the phenotype frequencies change from one generation to the next. But a 25-point activity should take you about an hour. And then we move up to the virtual labs. So we have a number of these virtual labs for each unit. This is the virtual lab from the evolution unit. It's about lizard evolution in the Caribbean. It is a phenomenal lab. You'll be measuring the skeletons of lizards, looking at their dewlap colors, and then you'll be doing some phylogenetics. So you'll be looking at the genomes of these different lizards and mapping out how they colonized and evolved across the Caribbean. This virtual lab has 4 parts. It's going to take you minimum of 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours on the virtual labs. You also have a virtual dissection of a fetal pig in your anatomy and physiology unit. Again, allow for 2 to 3 hours on the virtual labs. And then the high stakes assignments are the assessments. So we have an 8-week class, you have 8 assessments. So one assessment per week. The assessments are always due Sunday night at 11:59. The assessments are between 20 and 35 problems. So the first one here, the nature of science, is 25 problems. You have 1 hour to complete the assessment, which should be plenty of time. All assessments are open note, open book, open internet exams. So you can use resources. Just don't call your friends. I hope that you at least think about it individually. So I will ask that. You'll be allowed one attempt on these assessments. So be ready to take these things when you click on it. So 8 assessments, they're worth 100 points apiece. So that's 800 points. Your other materials, your labs, your activities, your case studies, your readings, your reflections, your guided discussions, collectively, those are worth 700 points. So 1,500 points total. And then I've got 50 points extra credit built in. That's all covered in the syllabus. Okay, so I want to leave you with just a few closing thoughts. Hopefully that's helpful. Number one, this is a science major's foundational biology course. It's a general biology course, so it covers a boatload of material. I mean, we're thinking about population genetics, we're thinking about paleontology, we're thinking about anatomy and physiology, we're thinking about conservation biology. Any of those classes is a standalone class at the 300 to 400 level. So there's a lot of content in this class. So we're going to move very quickly. We move very quickly in a 16-week semester. In an 8-week semester, you have got to be very, very diligent in your studies. So I am telling you, to be successful in this class, plan on spending about 2 hours per day on these materials during an 8-week online summer session. So you're talking minimum 10 hours a week for this class to be successful, to get that A that I know you all want. So without further ado, I really hope you enjoy this online version of Biology 182. Come visit me in my virtual WebEx personal meeting room if you'd like to web conference with me. And I thank you for your time. Enjoy your course.